In this video we're going to go through the cross-section sheet layout tool. Here I have a design file with some cross-sections plotted in it. I can review those real quick. I can see they're part of a chain called main lines and a horizontal vertical scale of 10. So I want to get these onto a sheet, so I'm going to use the cross-section sheet composition tool. I can find that in my plan, prep, and quantities task, and I can go to the cross-section sheet composition tool. This file reads a settings file or a library, and in that library you'd have several pre-saved off sheet types. In this case I have just the one. I can attach a library here. I can create new ones, save this one as I modify it, or copy this one and start from scratch with that new one. So in this case, let's take a look at some of the settings that are in a particular sheet. For example, what is the cross-section file? Where are these cross-sections that you're going to use to create the sheets with? And those are in this particular design file, and it'll, once you select the file, it'll read the baseline begin ending station of the sections that it finds in that file. Next, we would want to know where are you going to create the sheets, what design file. So you give it a file name, or the file needs to be created. Obviously you want to pick the file, give it your scale of your cross sections, in my case 10. You can detach the existing sheets in that file if you've already processed this once before processing. I'm going to place all my sheets in one model, but I could put one sheet per model if I wanted as well. Sheets dimensions, that would be, what is my sheet, my actual grid dimensions. So for example, I have a sheet cell, and at 1:1 scale it has a 30 by 21 grid, and so all my settings are going to be based off of that scale, and at least in this settings or this library file. So you can see my scale there. Here's the cell library where that sheet grid is, and that's the name of the cell that has the grid. And I'm placing this sheet grid, this cell, in the cross-section sheet file. Cross-section search criteria, that just simply tells me what level, weight, and color do I need to search for the items that are going to be created or referenced into the cross-section sheet. So what levels are my graphics on? So you may have graphics in this cross-section DGM file that you don't want referenced or turned on or used. So you need to kind of set up the display of this file and make sure that you have the appropriate levels and types searched for so that we can reference them appropriately. Sheet stack orientation, I'm just going to stack these sheets in a file in a vertical column. As I get more than 3 sheets per column, I'll start a new column. In my case, I'm going to double stack. So I just measure, again using the sheet dimensions, I'm going to measure 7 feet over from the edge of the grid and 15 feet over to begin the second column. And notice that the dimensions are to the middle of the first column and to the outer edge or left edge of the second column. So it's a left edge offset. Margins and spacing, how to arrange the cross sections on one individual sheet. In this case, I want 1 foot below and at the bottom and 1 foot at the top of the page. I want to come in 1 foot from the edge of the page, and I want to clip off the cross section 14 feet into the page. And so the second column, since I'm double stacking, will be, I'm starting that second column 15 feet away. So the left clip offset in this case would be 16 using the simple math, and the right clip would be 29. So 15 plus 14 is 29. So you get the idea of what these values are, hopefully. And then the space between the sections is 2, and 9 feet is enough to cover my sections as far as a vertical range or vertical size of each section. So I won't be losing any data or clipping anything out. I'm going to place labels, and again the dimensions are all based off of your your sheet grid dimension of in my case 21 by 30 or 30 by 21, and I'm going to label this station 14 feet in, or 29 feet on the second column. I'm going to label offset labels. I'm going to do elevation labels. I'm not going to do earthworks, but that's a possibility. Sheet labels, I can do that as well. In my case, I'm not. And I can create a digital interplot set as well. So let's go ahead and run this. You can notice I'm in the XSDGN file. When I hit Layout Sheets, it's going to pop me into the XS Sheet DGN file, or the file that I wanted to put the sheets in. It processes them, and if I do a Fit View, I should see my sheets. Now, one thing to note is that it actually referenced the files in. So if I bring up my reference tool, the top files have been referenced into the DGN file. The grid is actually been placed in the file, so the grid is an element in the file along with the offset labels and elevation labels and station labels. But the graphics from the cross section have been referenced. And so if I zoom in on a particular station, you can see there's my station label, there's my elevation labels and my offset labels, and then of course you can kind of get an idea of, I double stacked them so you can see that as well. And that covers the cross-section sheet layout tool.